Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you the finals between RiseN and Moonglade here on Osiris. This is part of the Vista Lasik tournament finals, and we have RiseN spawning as the green Protoss player over here on the south side of Osiris. Meanwhile, Moonglade spawning over here on the north side of Osiris as the purple Zerg. Now, if you guys have not seen this map before, this is because the first time I've ever casted a game or have even seen a game on this particular map. There is a low ground natural expansion over here outside both players' base. This expansion does have the standard 8 mineral patches, and then there's a little bit of a wider choke point here. I believe it is still possible to do a pylon forge expansion, as it does look like RiseN is going to be trying to go for that. There are also 3 Xel'Naga watchtowers spaced throughout the map. 1 Xel'Naga watchtower over here at about the 4 o'clock position. 1 in the dead center of the map. However, it is very, very difficult to hold. You can see that there's brush on the north side and south side of that location. And then after that, there's just a ravine on both sides as well. So it is very, very difficult in order to get to that location, as we now see a drone now coming out from the other side. So a probe will be able to get into this space in just a moment and see pretty much a standard build coming in from Moonglade. I'm trying to look where that natural 4th expansion is, or the third expansion. I believe the 3rd expansion is over here off to the right, and there, however, are destructible rocks on these Vespene geysers. So those Vespene geysers will be much more difficult to take. There is also an island expansion over here. However, those island expansions only have 7 mineral patches. Back over here, we see Moonglade trying to take down this one pylon here, gonna constantly peck at it. Meanwhile, it looks as though RiseN may be trying to go for a 16 Nexus. That would give RiseN a very, very strong economic equality compared to Moonglade at this stage, as Moonglade did go for a 14 hatchery over here. Taking a look, both sides do not have any production buildings yet, besides no spawning pools, no gateways for any real army units just quite yet, as we now see a probe finally making its way out and now going to set up that early nexus that I was talking about. So RiseN now setting up an early nexus against Moonglade, and it looks as though this is going to be a very, very heavy macroeconomic game. The hatchery over here already halfway completed. One of the benefits of the Zerg player being able to build a hatchery for only 300 minerals as opposed to 400 outmoves one drone, so that drone will start zapping away at that probe. That probe will run all the way home, as we now see a forge being placed down on this front door. One of the things that has changed recently is the roach range from 3 to 4, so I'm not 100% sure how RiseN will be able to hold off if Glade does try to go for a very, very heavy roach strategy. He does have the economic game and lead already, as this hatchery has already been completed, now transferring. Oh, and now there was one pylon that was trying to be built over here on that low ground, but that pylon quickly destroyed. Back over here, we now see a gateway coming in. So it will be a gateway, and then perhaps some zealots and some stalkers trying to hold off on that location, as we also see one photon cannon being warped in as well. So looking pretty good so far. Taking a look at the mini map, it's pretty much sparse inside RiseN's base, and now a lot of probes being transferred over here to the natural expansion over here. So 10 probes now being transferred over here. Economically speaking, we see 19 or now 20 probes for RiseN. Meanwhile, Moonglade sitting on 23. Production wise, we are finally getting a queen, and more drones are being produced. Same thing with these probes. The probes most likely are going to be chrono boosted, however, so that should give RiseN a little bit more of an economic lead as this game continues, and Moonglade is going to be forced to try to get some additional army production units out. So one queen now zapping away at that, or slashing its way at that probe quickly getting taken down. Did not see if there was any roach warrens or any other tech buildings hidden behind these mineral patches over here. As this one probe now getting an additional pylon set up here, this would now be a very, very narrow choke point between these two locations, and there is actually a lot of brush spread out across this map. So that's very interesting, the amount of brush on this map. So it is very, very easy to actually defend your natural expansion, as the only way to really walk around is this wide location here. And there's also this weird ramp into this location here that I didn't notice before. Perhaps if any scouting units were sitting here, or perhaps even here, they would be able to see incoming units while not being spotted as well. We now see an overlord coming in from Moonglade. Moonglade trying to get as much sight as possible. I do not see a cybernetics core coming in from both sides yet, so both sides still playing a game of StarCraft. as we are finally going into tier 2. I believe Moonglade may be trying to go for Mass Mutalisk now, as he does not, he does have a Roach Warren as well. So the Roach Warren is there just in case he comes in and scouts out some additional production buildings. However, we're now seeing a Stargate coming in from RiseN. So RiseN getting that Stargate. Did Moonglade catch that Stargate? No, he did not catch that Stargate. So that may become a problem for him. I do not believe he even saw the Cybernetics Core. There is, however, one gateway, and now this one Stalker will be able to make its way over here towards this Overlord. Overlord will get shot down relatively easily, as that Overlord does have a very, very slow movement speed. Income-wise, 48 Harvesters for Moonglade or Glade, RiseN sitting on 40. However, RiseN also getting twice the amount of gas at this stage in the game, as Moonglade finally is starting to mine gas off of four extractors now, also getting that metabolic boost, and now we are finally at tier 2. We also see the weapons upgrade, the missile upgrade, so we may be getting Roach Hydra. Roach Hydra would be an interesting combination, as the Roaches are already being trained up as well. Are we going to see Hydralisk? That is another question, as Overlords now make their way out. Moonglade is trying to set up this creep highway, and we do see a fair amount of creep now making its way across the map. It will be very, very important for Moonglade to get this creep onto the other side of the map. He also has one Zergling activating this Zelnaga Watchtower, which will allow these creep tumors to pop up on the other side of that creep relatively easily. I'm still taking a look at production-wise. We do see some Phoenixes now being trained, and it's a double Stargate, and one, I'm not quite sure, one Sentry just dancing back and forth right there, not quite sure what he's doing, and now finally a Zealot and trying to take that front ground. We do see a lot of Roaches now taking down these destructible rocks that I was talking about earlier. So this third base is relatively easy to defend, as it is in the opposite direction of your opponent's base. However, because of those destructible rocks, Roaches need to take them out in order to even get that additional gas. So one of those things that one of those custom map makers have decided to do in order to make the game a little bit more interesting. We do see a hatchery now being placed over here in this third location. However, Phoenix is quickly coming in and now taking down that Queen. Queen already very, very low on hit points, will get shot down relatively quickly, and now one Spore Crawler in play. Needs to get more Graviton Beams. Another Queen now getting taken down once again. So Moonglade now losing 2 Queens and losing a lot of his production. This is going to be a very, very heavy hit. We do see one Spore Crawler trying to protect a lot of these units here, and now we see also one Overseer will get shot down once again, and RiseN doing a great job with a double Stargate opening, able to get so much damage dealt. We do see 2 Spore Crawlers here, and now Roaches trying to move out once again. Those Roaches do have the movement speed upgrade, and now those those Phoenixes coming back for even more damage. There are double Spore Crawlers in this location, and now also sees this expansion over here, but will be able to get a lot of damage done across Moonglade's Overlord. So Overlord's currently upside down on food, so supply locked at 89/68. Roaches now making a mad rush into the base over here. One Sentry, some Zealots now also able to run in as well. Very, very nicely done. Moonglade hiding in one Changeling. However, RiseN quickly catching sight of that and deciding to pull back. So all those Roaches now being forced to run all the way home. I do not believe we see any Burrow Tech being researched, and we also see some Hydralisks being trained up. Hydralisks are going to be a very, very key counter towards those Phoenixes, but we also need to see Infestors. Infestors to stop the high mobility of these units. We can see one Queen already shot down out of the sky. Are those Hydralisks going to be able to pop out in time and now fight back? Will be able to get down. Oh no, unable to shoot down that last Phoenix. Phoenix down to 24 hit points. So we have an army and a fleet of Phoenixes out here. 8 Phoenixes able to just Graviton Beam units and also shoot down a lot of those Overlords out of the sky. Going to be a very, very difficult proposition. Moonglade going to lose this one Phoenix once again, as those Hydralisks now trying to make their way over. Hydralisk now also will be able to take down 2 of those Phoenixes, and the Queen was saved. Nicely done there, and now quickly 2 additional Spore Crawlers being built at the natural expansion, and those Spore Crawlers will be able to offer up a little bit of protection against those Overlords, against those Phoenixes for their Overlords. Phoenixes still continuing to just be built, and now we see a transition tech into that Robotics Bay. Robotics Bay will be able to allow for Colossi to be trained. As soon as those Colossi are trained, that will be a very, very difficult proposition for Glade to try to counteract, as those Hydralisks will just fall to the wayside compared to those Colossi. However, we do see Moonglade getting double missile, or the level 2 missile attack upgrades, and now training 2 Colossi. as long as those Zealots also have that charge upgrade, those Zealots will be able to zero in on those targets very, very easily and shoot them slash away at those Hydralisks and those Roaches. So we'll see how this all works out. We are also getting the the level 2 Carapace upgrades as well. So we are going to have 3 armor Roaches in just a moment and 2 armor Hydralisks, also getting that infestation pit. So Glade just continuing to do a great job here, taking a very, very slow macro game attempt and now going to build up a very, very large army. You can see, RiseN sitting on a 4,100 middle army versus 3025. Taking a look at the army here, a very large army of Stalkers and Zealots now making their way out. Production-wise, the extended thermal lance research now being researched. And now we also have a Spire currently being built. So the Spire will take quite a bit of time as those Hydralisks are able to shoot down so many of those Phoenixes. 2 Phoenixes just needlessly lost there. However, those Stalkers now will be making their way out across the map. No observers though, so perhaps if we saw some burrow tech coming in from Glade, Glade would have been able to play whack-a-mole with those units. Will this work out as those Stalkers now trying to make their way towards this expansion over here? We see those Roaches and Hydralisks continuing to fight back. We also see the Guardian Shield, so the Guardian Shield protecting against a lot of those missile attacks, as force fields also being laid down as well. Both sides dealing a lot of damage towards each other. However, those Roaches are focus firing and focusing down each of those Stalkers. Hydralisks trying to take down those Colossi. Colossi still full on hit points so far as those Hydralisks continue to push forward very, very slowly. A lot of Roaches coming out, so the mass production of the Zerg army will be able to continue to win out on this fight. 1 Stalker coming in over here. We do see an army of Stalkers coming in over here with a proxy pylon as these Stalkers now trying to engage. We do see 1 Queen quickly getting taken down over here. However, the swarm of Roaches and Hydralisks on that creep will be able to just come in and deal so much damage very, very quickly. Roaches moving at a movement speed of almost 4 and RiseN saying GG. So a great game here on Osiris. We saw Moonglade doing a really strong job of just being able to macro up a very large army. And even though RiseN had a stronger army at that last engagement, I believe Moonglade had saved up a lot of larvae. You can see 6 larvae here across all of his hatcheries. You can see that he's saving up 12 larvae. That's how he was able to easily, instantly produce 16 Roaches. And even though RiseN came out pretty much even and almost even in that fight, back over here, or at the start of the fight, because of Moonglade's just constant production, he was able to come out and win in that fight. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed game 1 in this I believe a best of 7 series between Moonglade and RiseN. Game 1 taking place on Osiris.